Hello, it's Friday, March 13th, 2020. Digital Trends Live is about to start. Here are some of the topics we're covering on today's show. Another day, another round of cancellations thanks to the threat of the coronavirus. But there are actually a few things happening that aren't horrible. We'll give you some of those updates. And TikTok has been on a tear lately with a recent report stating almost 2 billion downloads for the social media app, thanks in part to a coronavirus uptick in bored people quarantined at home. We've also got some great guests joining us today, including Andre Noodleman, the CEO of the Digital Academy, which is developing and delivering project-based STEM education for over 200,000 students. And with the weekend upon us and possibly a much longer stay, as many people will be working from home, we'll have Rick Marshall join us for an episode of Between the Streams, where we'll walk through what to watch this weekend and what to binge while you work. All of this and more on today's episode of Digital Trends Live. Hello, everyone. This is Digital Trends Live. Thank you for joining us wherever you're watching. We do appreciate it. I know a lot of you are probably at home right now, but we're here for you. And we will be broadcasting throughout the coronavirus apocalypse. I tried to make that up on the fly. Didn't work out. That's why we're live. So again, broadcasting here every weekday, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, bringing you trending tech headlines, news, interviews, discussions, and so much more. All while broadcasting live across a number of different platforms. We're on Periscope, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Dailymotion, Apple News, 2 different mobile apps, a smart television app, and at digitaltrends.com/live. So wherever you're finding us, you can join in the conversations that we get to have. And thank you for being here with us. I'm Greg Nibbler, joined by Riley Wynn. Hello, Riley.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Coronavirus apocalypse is very hard to say on the fly.
It is. It's a tongue twister for sure.
It's one I shouldn't have attempted on live. But nonetheless, we do have a lot to talk about. And we do have to start off, as we do every day, with bringing you an update on coronavirus. And I promise we're going to talk about some positive things associated with this too, or things that are coming out of this. But another round of cancellations yesterday, definitely for sports fans. It was a rough day. NBA was already canceled, MLB, NHL, pretty much everything you can think of, including the cancellation of March Madness, the NCAA basketball tournaments, both men's and women's. And I know, Riley, this hit you hard.
Yes, all of the sports going away because of coronavirus is really not sitting well with me.
Yeah.
I mean, the Masters got postponed yesterday.
Oh, that's another
March
one.
Madness canceled.
Yeah.
NBA season postponed for 30 days. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do for the next 3 or 4 months.
Right.
With myself, because I literally just watch sports until, I don't know, June, May, when the NBA Finals is over. So I'm just like,
yeah. What do you do with your spare time now?
I'm gonna have to find a new show on Netflix or Hulu or whatever, because
You have to find a hobby. A hobby of
I'll need a hobby.
yeah. Models. I think
I'll go into model trains.
Yes, model trains.
Perfect.
You definitely look like a train.
When I come back to work after we're done working from home, I'll have a conductor's hat on.
Perfect. All right, so that is what's going to happen to Riley during that time. So looking at this, though, again, walking through some of the updates. Also in tech, Microsoft Build was canceled. Honestly, with all of the other cancellations, I had assumed that already was, but it's official. Microsoft's very big event that happens, their Build conference, also canceled. They're going to be going, though, to a, it sounds like a virtual conference, which it seems like a lot of companies are doing.
Yeah, you still got to be able to show off whatever you want to debut.
Right.
And you can't really wait for this to kind of die down.
Yeah.
Because those products are so innovative and so new that people are going to want to get them, even at the risk of catching things like this.
Right.
But I mean, you can also just order it from online.
Yeah.
Order it from your home. So I mean, they need to do these kind of things, and they got to pivot and kind of change the strategy a little bit, but still got to make money.
Yeah, exactly. And so we'll have to see how they all handle it and what kinds of, maybe we get some creative announcements, creative ways that they're going to handle it going forward. But certainly a lot of us are going to be streaming things online. Hopefully Digital Trends Live is one of those. But also we've got some news coming out that AT&T has announced that they're going to halt data caps during this situation, however long this lasts. And that's kind of up in the air as far as how long it's going to go. But they are going to halt their data caps. So that means for those of you who have that service, you're not going to get dinged by streaming more things, and especially working from home. A lot of people are going to be, uploading documents and data and utilizing that. They're not going to hit you with extra charges for that. I think that's a good move.
Yeah, data and internet usage is going to skyrocket. Probably be higher than we've ever seen it before.
Yeah.
I would bet.
Yeah.
So AT&T, other internet service providers are really going to have to kind of say like, hey, can we give people a break on overages and things like that? And then also, they've got to beef up their infrastructure to handle all this, new traffic, or
That's
not new
true.
traffic, more traffic.
More traffic,
Yeah.
more people from different locations. We're all used to our business. If you're in a business or in an office, certainly that's a beefed up version of what you can do. And this going from home is going to certainly change things.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, we're at the start of a real interesting time. I mean, this isn't anything that most of us have ever encountered before, what's going on. And so it's one of those moments where, when we'll look back at this, we will survive, we will get on and maintain this. It is a very serious thing, and not making light of that, but it's something that we're all going to be looking back on, this time frame. It'll be something that we'll never forget.
Yeah,
what's
it's gonna
happening
be like,
right now.
Hey, do you remember in 2020 when the world shut down for a few
100%.
months?
Yeah, it's one of those moments, and it's one of those things that we're going through, and so that's why it's all live. We're experiencing it together, and that's what we're talking about right now, is just bringing you up to date on what's happening today. Tomorrow, who knows? So right now, AT&T with the halting their data caps. I know that you said Comcast is doing something similar.
Yeah, so Comcast is actually providing more access to low-income families for internet access, and then they're also going to beef up the speed. I believe they're going from 15 megabits to 25 megabits per second.
Okay.
So one, they're going to give you a free trial for the first 60 days, which for people who qualify under the low-income internet,
Yeah.
it's usually only $9.95, but for 60 days you can get it for free.
Okay.
So that's a really good initiative that they're doing. So as people have their kids coming home and doing their homework from home, or you're not working,
Yeah.
you can still get internet even if you are one of those people that has a lower income.
That's good. All of these things are good measures and good moves that they're making to make sure that everybody has access. So that's a couple of things. I would expect some other providers to follow suit.
I would hope so.
You would think so.
Yeah.
That the pressure will be on to do that. A couple other things. So looking at it from a broader scope here, talking about China definitely being the epicenter and where they've been really hard hit by this. Here's something that's actually kind of a little bit of hope coming out of there. So the Apple stores in China all closed down. I believe almost all of them. There's 42 of them in China, and now it looks like they are all going to be opening back up because of the fact that the spread seems to be stemming just a little bit over there to where they feel comfortable opening up their stores again. That's a good sign.
Yeah, because they were one of the first, I feel like, companies to start closing down factories and stores.
Yep.
And so now that they're one of the first ones maybe opening back up, as a lot of other stuff is closing now, which
Right.
is kind of interesting. So that is hopeful.
Yeah, and a lot of stuff closing here, but there's so much that closed down.
Yeah.
So them coming back up and feeling comfortable opening up their stores, that means, there's a sign of hope that maybe they're on their way, or at least on the road out of it, because I don't think they would be opening them back up if they didn't think that it was safe. So just a good sign. Again, trying to give you some rays of hope here throughout everything. I know it's so doom and gloom right now, but just talking about some good things. Another thing in the news, Samsung, and this is based off of Samsung Malaysia's website, but it sounds like this is going to be coming to a lot of countries where Samsung is going to be offering to clean your phone for you.
Yeah, those the little phone cleaners, right?
Yeah, the UV rays that'll go through and clean it up, which that's something in this time frame right now. I think we should all be aware of how dirty our devices are. They're very dirty. We should be cleaning those more often just in general. But yeah, this is something that Samsung may be doing to actually help that out. So
Yeah.
kinda cool.
Anything that touches your hands, you want to make
Yeah.
sure it's clean right now.
Yeah, clean it. Clean it all. And a couple other things too, just with this, and then we'll move on to some other topics. We have some other news to get to. But one thing is for you Pokemon Go players out there, I know a lot of people are going to be streaming video games, but a lot of people still play Pokemon Go, and now they're going to change it up and make it easier for you to play without having to be outside. So it's doing the opposite of what the original intent was, to get you moving outside. Now they're going to make it easier to where you can play the game without having to move around as much. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, I think people, once they get used to this, they might be like, when they go back to you have to
Right.
go out, they're going to be like, oh man, I don't want to do that
I don't
now.
wanna move
I
anymore.
just want to hang out in my house and catch Pokemon.
Yeah. So there's, I think that's a good move. And also, just talking about streaming, there's a lot of reports just coming out of Italy now too about how much Fortnite is being streamed and everybody's going to online games. Let me ask you this. Are you going to be streaming any online games? I know that you're not a big gamer.
I'm not a big gamer, but me and all of my roommates are actually working from home.
Okay.
Now, all this week, we all got sent home to work from home, and so we will be playing some video games.
Yep.
But I did see that yesterday Xbox Live
Yeah.
went down because there were so many people on it that
Because so many people were streaming.
so many people were streaming and trying to play online that it was not ready for that, and it crashed for like a couple hours. So
Sweet.
I can't imagine what it's going to be like when everyone's sent home.
Yeah.
I hope they have it in place, the things in place, because
Yeah,
Fortnite players can't handle having it shut down for hours.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously a lot of people are going to be working from home. We're here in Oregon. And our offices, for the most part, will be working from home. I do want to say this just about Digital Trends Live. We will still be broadcasting, and so we're going to be going on the road a little bit. We're going to be broadcasting from some undisclosed locations, undisclosed because we're figuring that out right now, as everybody else is, but we will be broadcasting, and I'll be talking about that again later on. That's why I want everybody to hit subscribe wherever you're watching right now. If you're going to be at home, we will keep you up to date on the news. We're going to bring some entertainment. We're going to have all kinds of things for you to make sure that you get programming every day. So I just want to make sure that everybody knows about that. I'll talk about it again later, but I just want to remind you, hit subscribe. Hit subscribe. We're going to be broadcasting. It's going to be fun. All right, we've got some more things here to get to and just to talk about in association with some news. Let's go on to this, though. Let's talk about TikTok. And there is a report out about how many downloads TikTok has had. And it's certainly, one of the biggest social media phenomenons that we've ever seen. It was named basically the tech of the year for 2019 from Digital Trends, not because of some innovation, just because of the fact that you cannot deny the power of TikTok.
Oh, yeah.
What 2019 was. And I know that you are on TikTok.
Yes, I'm on TikTok. I run our Digital Trends account. But yeah, it's crazy. In the last 6 months, the TikTok explosion has been crazy. Like, I remember 6 months ago, my nieces that are like 14 were using it, and I was like, oh, what's that? I was like, that looks like Vine. And they're like, what's Vine? And I was like, oh my gosh, you are so young and so naive. But
You fools.
You fools. In the last 6 months, it's really exploded.
Yeah.
2 billion people. I mean, Digital Trends in November, we started an account because we saw the value in it, growing that. And it's crazy. There's so many people on there. Things go viral so quickly.
Yeah, that's one of the things
insane.
that's just kind of fascinating about it because it doesn't really depend on followers or anything like that.
Nope.
It's just something can go viral.
Literally, you can become an internet sensation overnight and have. Let's say you start the day off with 100 followers.
Yeah.
You can have 100,000 the next day.
That's crazy.
Like actually have 100,000.
And that's actually pretty exciting, just how that can happen.
It is it's like everyone's
It's kind of addictive. It's kind of like gambling.
Everyone is trying to chase that, really.
Yeah.
Because once you become internet sensation, it's lucrative. Like people will want to sponsor you, do ads with you, stuff like that. I mean, there's TikTok stars in movies now.
That's crazy.
They're in movies now.
Just how much that's changed.
Yeah, and it's so new because it's only 6 months old, and they're already like that. It's already ingrained into like society.
Do you think, as being a Vine user, just to ask you this question, do you think this is going to go the way of Vine?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think this is going to last a lot longer than Vine, unless someone buys it.
Yeah.
Because that's what happened with Vine is Twitter bought it.
Right.
And then they kind of just swallowed it up.
Yeah.
And it ran for a little bit, and then because Vine was 6 seconds, and then Instagram was like, oh crap, we have video, but it's not very good, and so they went to 15 seconds, and then a minute within like months of Vine blowing up. And with TikTok, I mean, it's not as limited as Vine was. It's not 6 seconds, it's 15, or you can go up to a minute. Mm-hmm. And the fact that they have the ability to like go with music, like copyrighted music, and not like get pulled down or anything like that. That's huge. That is very huge.
Looking at this too, just a couple other things with TikTok in association with that, and part of this report is the coronavirus has actually, they think, spurred some of these downloads. There's the Chinese version of the app as well, and that during all of their quarantine, which I believe is still going on for a good portion of the country, because people are at home and they're bored and they're trying to find things to do, and they can't go out dancing or go to a club, go to a bar. So there's been a lot of bars and actually artists posting videos of themselves performing, or DJs, and they're calling them cloud raves, and this is something that's actually been huge over there.
Yeah, there's always so many funny trends on TikTok, and since the coronavirus has really exploded, there's been a lot of new users, one for looking for new content, but one specific new user was the World Health Organization. They joined TikTok just like 2 weeks ago, basically to just kind of like stop all these rumors about the coronavirus and give you actual facts about it.
Which is great.
Give you tips on washing your hands, and they're actually doing an initiative with TikTok tomorrow on March 14th. It's called Safe Hands, and it's basically just you make a video of how washing your hands is fun. So you need to wash your hands for 40 seconds with soap and hot water, or warm water, excuse me, and it's just like, hey, what song do you listen to wash your hands that whole time? Or what's a fun way you can like make that time go faster. So that will be a trend tomorrow.
Yeah.
Excited for that because it's awareness, spreading awareness.
Right.
So that's what we need right now is people
100%.
washing their hands and just keep limiting the spread of coronavirus.
And really, you should wash your hands after coronavirus is gone too. I mean, you should have already, but if you haven't been, now is the time. Start washing your hands. That is the trend you must continue forever after that. Wash your hands. So that's good. So again, talking about TikTok and bringing you up to date on just some trending news and different topics that are going on right now in tech and beyond, because certainly everything's affecting us. But let's go to this. Let's talk about Tesla for a minute. So the Model Y, which is their latest version, something that a lot of people are excited about when you see this. Anytime Tesla puts out something new, it's big. But it wasn't expected to actually be getting out to people that pre-ordered it until the fall. In a weird thing for Tesla, they're actually getting those out earlier than normal. Usually you see delays. Like Elon Musk will make an announcement and it'll be like, it's 3 months later, 6 months later. They actually are getting these out earlier. Even today, some of these are going to be delivered to the people that pre-ordered their Tesla Y.
I think it's crazy to me. Like, I know Teslas are, the hot thing right now. Mm-hmm. It's crazy to me that people wait that long for a car. Because, like, the way you traditionally buy cars is you go to the lot. It may take you a week to finally buy that car, like, comparing to different places. But most times it's pretty quick. Yeah. And like these people pre-ordered their Tesla.
They ordered them online without even seeing.
Last year.
Yeah.
Like
would never test driving it. It's just going to be delivered to their house.
I mean, they're cool cars. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But I don't think personally I could be like wait that long for a car that I know very little about.
Well, and that's actually a trend that's going on right now, and that's a great question to bring up to people. The point that you just brought up is, do you prefer to just order something online, something like a car, a big purchase like that? Would you rather order it online, or would you rather go to a dealership? And I can kind of see the cost benefit of both. I just purchased a vehicle recently, going to talk to dealers, and some dealers were great. Some of them was a real pain going to deal with them, and I could kind of see some of the benefit of being like, okay, I can just cross through that and just order something online, and that's actually another great way to do it.
Yeah, but it is crazy that Elon Musk finally beat a deadline.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, this is the first time that I'm aware of that he was ahead of schedule.
Yeah, I mean exactly. So getting ahead of schedule, that's certainly something that's interesting when it comes to Tesla, but to say the least. All right, so you can read more about that at digitaltrends.com. It does look like we have our guest coming up here in just a few minutes. So let's do this, though. We've got a couple other news stories to bring to you to talk about, one of them being SpaceX, being on the Elon Musk train here, talking about that. And it is another announcement that he made that they're aiming to build a Starship rocket every 72 hours. So if you talk about all the things that SpaceX has been doing as far as on the commercial end and setting up all these satellites and Starlink, Starlink is their goal to have satellite internet for everybody, for the entire globe essentially. But also on the tourism side, building a rocket every 72 hours that can send stuff up into space is A, it sounds like something out of science fiction, but B, I believe he's going to do it.
You think so?
I think he'll be able to do it.
I'm very skeptical.
I think it'll take quite a long time.
I'm very skeptical of this. This is one of those things where Elon Musk just says something to kind of manifest it in his mind. Like physically he's not going to do it yet, but he's like, I got to put this idea in my brain that I am going to do this. And then like 10 years later, it's like,
oh, it's not going to happen soon. It'll be like 20 years.
It's so crazy. Like, think about this. Like, he wanted to do it for under $5 million. And every 72 hours. It took $220 some odd billion to send man to the moon the first time. Right. $5 million to make a spaceship that can go up to the moon.
That could do that, or beyond, go to Mars or something. Yeah.
Like that seems harder to me.
The other aspect is, what are you going to do with that many rockets? How many rockets do we need?
That's true.
That's another point of it. Is how many are they going to be building? But it's an interesting concept of what they're going to be doing, and that's again Elon Musk with his plans on where it's going to go. I love this stuff though. I love just that he throws this stuff out, even if it doesn't always happen. Every now and then you get a Tesla Model Y that shows up earlier than it's supposed to. Yeah. Maybe we'll get our 72-hour rockets. Probably not.
I mean, someone's got to push the envelope, and
somebody has to.
And I mean, if you're making these bold announcements, then it's like you have the pressure of actually trying to make it happen. Yeah. Like other companies and other CEOs may shy away from that because they don't want the pressure of not meeting those deadlines, meeting those proclamations that they make. Yeah. So I like that he does it, but I always take with what he says with a grain of salt.
Right. Yeah. So we'll have to see where it goes. We can definitely read more about that at digitaltrends.com. Hey, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. It's now time for the product of the day. Yes, indeed, our product of the day. So I know a lot of you are at home right now, but you know what's important to remember to do? Hydrate. So this is what you can do this with. This is a Hydro Flask. If you have not had one before, they are actually awesome. So this is the wide mouth 2.0 water bottle. So it's got the straw lid. So as we all know, straws are going away. This already takes care of that for you. So you've got the straw right there. They've got different sizes and colors. This is the new one with the trademark next to the logo. So you know you're getting the Hydro Flask, or maybe you have somebody in your family who's a Visco girl and you need to get them this for their outfit. But seriously, these things are really great. They honestly are. They're good for, as it's being demonstrated at the beach. You can keep hot liquids in here as well. So really you can do whatever you want. If you want to put coffee in it on a cold day, you want to put something cool on a warm day, you got it both. And it works for 24 hours. So that's actually pretty amazing. You can keep coffee hot for 24 hours in something like this. So it's BPA free. It's free of all kinds of different other things. It's leak proof. It's food grade stainless steel. So you can put food in there. You're fine. It's dishwasher safe and it's got a warranty. So this is our product of the day that you need this at home. Click the link right there. That is on whatever platform you're watching on. There's a bit.ly link that you'll see just below me. Click on that and pick it up. That is your product of the day. All right, so there we go. Riley, I want to say thank you for joining us.
Thanks for letting me be here.
Thanks for being here. Again, next time we see Riley, it probably will not be in this studio because we'll be broadcasting somewhere else. But we will be broadcasting, so keep that in mind. But also, coming up next, we've got some great guests joining us, but also there is this video that you're going to see of me getting doused with liquid nitrogen. Yes, I went out to Oros with their outerwear. That's amazing. I got to talk to Michael, who's the CEO, and they sprayed me down with liquid nitrogen. It really did happen. So that is something you're going to get to see next. So stick around. We'll be right back with more Digital Trends Live. Hey, Greg Dibler with Digital Trends here at the Oros headquarters in Portland, Oregon to talk about their new products and something about this nitrogen tank that's right over here. We'll get to that here in a minute, but to start off, I'm here with Michael, the CEO and co-founder. Thank you so much for joining us here today. I know there's a lot of excitement about what you've got. I want to talk about the new products, but to give everybody just a little bit of the backstory again, just so it's so unique, can you talk about the founding of this company?
And long story short, we took the same insulation NASA used in their space shuttles and put it into apparel so you can wear really thin gear and stay incredibly warm.
Which is just crazy. Like the stuff that is in the space shuttle is in the jackets. And why had that not happened before? Like what is this material?
Yeah, so in college I got this scholarship called the Astronaut Scholarship, and through that learned about this NASA tech called aerogel. And to your point, it's been around since 1931. How come it's never been used in apparel before, even though it's the best insulation in the universe?
Yeah.
Well, turns out when we got our hands on it, we found out that aerogel is incredibly brittle.
Right, and it's like almost see-through right here.
Yeah, so it's 98.2% air. The only thing that holds it together is an amorphous silica crystalline structure, so it's also the lightest substance in the world. The one problem we found is even though it's the best insulation in the universe and incredibly light, it's incredibly brittle. And if I were to poke it right now, it would shatter into 1,000 little pieces, and that brittleness is why it hasn't been used in apparel.
And you figured out how to make it less brittle and to get it into something that's malleable and that you can actually wear.
That's right. So Riff, co-founder, and I spent 2 years from our sophomore years to our senior years of college figuring out how to take this stuff and make it flexible and durable enough for
I can
apparel.
tell you that's not what I was doing from my sophomore to junior year in college. But you did this. So you created this, and now you've got this line of apparel, and you launched the original ones, and they were amazing. Like, they're out, you can get them now. I actually have one of them, incredibly warm. And I guess just to talk about what this material does is that it just insulates it so well. You can be incredibly warm no matter what the temperature is.
Totally. So you get all the warmth without the bulk. You know those big puffy Michelin Man jackets? Forget that. Now you can have something that looks like a hoodie that keeps you warm like your typical winter jacket.
And that's what we're looking at right here. So this is part of the new line that launched with your Kickstarter, which was funded in like an hour or something, or triple funded in an hour. I don't even know what it's at right now by the time you're watching this. But let's talk about this right here, some of the new stuff.
Yeah. So this is our Atmos jacket. This is one of my favorite products. Think of this like your personal cocoon. You put this on and it's gonna be the warmest hoodie that you've ever worn and the only hoodie that you'll ever wanna wear.
It does, it feels really good. It's got all kinds of, you got your pockets on here. Talk about this lining right here.
Yeah, so a lot of the design was pulled from NASA and from spacesuit designs. And so this baffling is meant to give you that feeling of comfort and warmth, which something similar was used on the spacesuits as well.
Which I love that inspiration from actual spacesuits. Like, that's what we're talking about. This is what NASA does. So that fully translates into something that, you can actually wear. It's really comfortable.
I'm actually gonna introduce you to Maddie, who is our product line manager, and she'll walk you through the rest of the products.
Perfect. All right, I'm here with Maddie, the product line manager for Oros, to talk about some of these new products. This is pretty exciting, especially, you're the product line manager.
Yeah.
So obviously you've been involved with this a lot. Walk us through what we have right here.
Sure. So the products we launched on Kickstarter are what you're wearing. So we obviously have the Atmos jacket, and then we have the Astra pullover. So this is the women's version, sort of what you've got on, but it's a little different. So we wanted to go with something that was a departure from like true outerwear and something that you can wear kind of year round. So we've got that one, we've got it also in green. And then we have the parkas. And so if you open it up, you can see that we've got this draft collar. So it's kind of like stops the cold air from coming up. And so it'll cinch to your body.
Nice, so cold air, like if you're wearing this out in the mountains, cold air is coming up from below, it's just gonna
Yeah, you won't feel
Good.
it.
Okay.
You won't even feel it when you're wearing it, but it just helps keep you super warm. And then this last one is the women's Orion parka. It's got more storage pockets, and then again, the same thing inside with that little cinch at the waist and then the collar.
Well, they look fantastic, so that's what we're
Yeah.
looking at right here. And I know I'm gonna try on one of the men's parkas here
Awesome.
to test something out that I'm a little bit nervous about. But that's gonna be up next. Maddie, thank you. All right, so you've seen the lineup, nothing to notice here except for the fact that I'm wearing goggles, now wearing the Orion parka, and I know that we're going to be doing something with this liquid nitrogen. Can you tell us what is gonna happen here?
Liquid nitrogen is negative 321 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay, that sounds very cold.
Yeah, it is very cold. I think that's like negative 189 Celsius. That's 2.5 times colder than the coldest natural temperature ever recorded on Earth.
Wow, so that doesn't sound good at all. So we're good here. We can just go ahead and leave right now, right? No.
Absolutely.
So what are you gonna do here with this?
So we're actually going to take that liquid nitrogen that's negative 321 degrees Fahrenheit and spray it on you.
What are the steps here? What do I have to do?
Yep. So all you need
Spray
to
with
do.
liquid nitrogen.
You've got all your safety gear on. You
Yes.
got your Orion parka. You got your lab
Yes.
goggles. You're going to stand right about here. Put your hands in the pocket. Put your hood up.
All right.
And then I'm going to turn on the liquid nitrogen. Make sure that you're ready to go. I asked you go.
Okay.
And if you say go, then we're going to spray with
It's just gonna, okay, all right. Keep my hands in the pockets, right?
in the pockets. Absolutely. All right, 3, 2, 1.
Wow. All right, well, as you can tell, I was smoking with liquid nitrogen. I cannot feel it. Like, I could barely feel it even on my legs, just like some of the spillover. There's nothing coming through on this.
Absolutely.
That is incredible. And so again, what is the name of this material?
Solar core.
Solar Core. And so, Oros, with your Kickstarter that's out right now, you've got your products that are already out there. Where should we send people to go get this?
So check out Oros on Kickstarter. We're live until April 9th.
Live until April 9th. I don't suggest getting your own liquid nitrogen at home to try this out, but it does look pretty cool. but we're not recommending that. But thank you so much for doing this. Thanks for dousing me with liquid nitrogen, and thanks everybody for watching. Welcome back to Digital Trends Live. I'm Greg Nibbler, and thank you very much for joining us wherever you are. We do appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button. That way you get the notifications when we do go live, which is every weekday, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. And we'd like to keep you up to date, like I said, on tech trends. But there's so much information out there. There's so much data. How do we filter through everything that is going on? Well, we turn to people like this, which is Mike Berland, who is the founder and CEO of Decode M, who actually is an analytics firm, to help us filter through all this stuff. So, A, Mike, thanks for joining us here on the show. B, can you tell us a little bit about Decode M and exactly what you do?
First of all, thanks for having me. It's a interesting day here in New York City, and I'm glad to be on your show. At Decode M, we are a research analytics firm that decodes data into momentum. You know, momentum was always an emotional word. Like, you've got momentum, you've lost momentum, and we wanted to quantify it using the physics definition. And the physics definition from Sir Isaac Newton was momentum equals mass times velocity. So we've quantified mass and we've quantified velocity.
And so you're able to go through this information and all this out there. Let's talk about the data that you're utilizing. So when we talk about, this massive data, where are you gathering this from?
We're collecting data from all available sources. So we're using social media, traditional media, behavioral data, basically everything that's available except for Facebook and Instagram, which are closed.
So with all that information, what can people do with this? I know you have a lot of very big clients that you've worked with. Can you talk a little bit about that to put some context to it?
Well, here's where it gets interesting, which is we now live in a world where everything is knowable. You just need to know where to look. So we can basically anything that you can Google, a brand, a product, a politician, an issue, a virus. We can understand the momentum of that item and quantify and predict where it's going to go. So imagine if we could understand what is a trend, what is a fad, and what actually has momentum to understand our cultural relevancy in today's world.
I want to relate this to an article, actually an op-ed that you had in Fast Company, talking about polling, in relation to the election that's coming up, and saying that there's a better way to predict the next president. That's a bold statement. Can you talk through what it is that you mean by that?
Well, I spent 25 years of my career as a pollster. I worked for Hillary Clinton. I worked for Bill Clinton. I worked for Mike Bloomberg in his election for mayor of New York. And we would ask people questions and we would get answers and we'd be able to predict elections. And somewhere around 2015, I realized that polling was no longer about predicting elections, but it was just content. And it had little predictive value good conversational value, fantastic information on MSNBC and CNN, but didn't really couldn't really tell you who was going to win. And the proof is in the pudding. Is look at the 2016 election when everybody thought Hillary was going to win, and it turns out that Trump did. And so I started to look at this other data that was available and started to calculate the volume and the sentiment and created proprietary algorithms using state-of-the-art artificial intelligence that would allow me to understand where voter sentiment was, what the volume of that conversation was, and then I could go state by state and predict who was the favorite candidate based on the conversations that we're having, the engagement that was taking place, and then who was likely going to be their choice.
And so with this algorithm and utilizing AI, have you tested this out to see the accuracy of these results?
Well, that's the incredible part is in politics, you can actually see it. Like, unlike any other product where you're always like, what's the ROI, performance marketing? On politics, you have election day. And I've been now using it in every state in the Democratic primary, and we've gotten every one right. I knew what was going to happen in Iowa. I knew what was going to happen in New Hampshire. We got every state right on Super Tuesday because the way that voters express their opinion is no longer through answering a poll. It's how do they, what kind of conversation do they have online? What are they sharing? And how are they engaging with the client? And then it becomes predictive. And what I saw that was so interesting, if they're not talking about you online and they're not having a debate about you online, they're not going to vote for you.
And so that's either just a debate online in general, I would imagine. I mean, I suppose we can get into that a little bit more, but as far as whether it's positive, negative, there needs to be a debate online.
Well, and that's what's interesting. It's positive or negative don't really matter in this calculation. It has to be polarizing. And when we look at the masters of momentum, whether it be Donald Trump in politics or Kylie Jenner in fashion, it's got to be a polarizing conversation. If we all agree on something, it doesn't motivate or get action. We've got to have people on both sides, and that's what actually becomes motivating.
Interesting. That's actually a great psychological study of just where we're at right now, too, of the fact that, this polarizing aspect of it. Well, I want to let everybody know, too, you do have a book that I believe is on its way out. It's coming out at the end of this month. I want to make sure I got the date right. Yeah, Maximum Momentum. Tell us about the book and what we can read in this.
The book is really an explanation of the momentum formula. It goes through each and every aspect of how we calculate mass, how we calculate velocity. But more importantly, the book gives you practical ways to use it in real life. Use it in your personal life to keep your best days ahead. Use it in your business life to keep momentum for your brand. And so what has been the best thing within the book is giving practical explanations and examples that people can implement. What I found interesting, and you'll love this because of the politics, is we say in the book, you can't buy momentum. You can buy mass, but you can't buy velocity because velocity requires the engagement and the interaction. And we really saw that with the Bloomberg campaign, where they had substantial mass, but they didn't have engagement, and then therefore they didn't have voters come out and vote for them. And so we say like a fad is when you have momentum and you move up and then you just drop. A trend is something that moves up and then gets absorbed by society. But momentum requires continuous transformation, always looking for the next thing. And that's what we go into depth in the book.
Wow, that's fascinating stuff. I can't wait to read it. And that's coming out on March 31st. I imagine anywhere that you can get books, people can pick that up. And Mike, I want to say thank you so much for joining us here on Digital Trends Live. Really appreciate it.
Hey, man, I really appreciate it, and I love your show.
Thank you so much. All right. Fascinating, learning about that and thinking about momentums and trends and what the differences are and analyzing all that data. Really, really great stuff. So again, thank you to Mike for joining us here. We've got more coming up though. So we do know a lot of people are going to be working from home, and that's just inevitable. But how do you manage that? What do you need to do? Well, we've got Ciara Pressler, who's joining us for another edition of Work Life to talk about just that. She's here in studio, but she'll tell you how to work from home. That's coming up next. Stick around. We'll be right back with more Digital Trends Live. Welcome back to Digital Trends Live. Thank you everyone for watching wherever you are. We do appreciate it. And I know a lot of you are probably at home right now because there's so many of us that are going to be working from home, and we need some advice on how to do that. How do you manage that? What do you need to be concerned with? And what are some fun things for it? So we're going to talk about all of that and more because we have Ciara Pressler here for another edition of Work Life. Hello.
Work lifetime.
Work Life. This is the perfect epitome of work and life.
I mean, what other topic could we possibly do this week, right?
Yeah, there's no getting around it. I know that you have a lot of people that sending questions to just about this. I know we've got a video of somebody who sent one in. Maybe we can go ahead and roll that and then dig into this topic here.
All right.
Hey, Ciara. So I am now working from home, working remotely. And you got any pointers?
Pointers, right? We need some.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was an Emmy Award in the background, so she may be doing fine as it is.
Oh,
but
okay. So that was a little bit of a humble brag in the. Oh, I mean, I had one. I put it there too.
Hey,
But
I would brag about that if
Yeah.
I had one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people are working from home right now, and
Yeah.
a lot of us work from home all the time already.
Right.
And there are definitely some best practices to make that work better. At Pregame, my business, we're always talking about productivity and how we can be more efficient, more effective, no matter where we're working.
Yeah, and finding that balance is really hard. So I guess like walking through it, since everybody's, for some people, have already been doing it,
Yep.
still good to have reminders on how to balance it. And people who are new to it, I guess, what are some of the different circumstances where people would be working from home?
Sure, so say there was a new virus spreading
What?
across the world that had been declared a pandemic.
Weird.
You might want to, quarantine. Might be an option that you have.
Yep.
But you might be a remote worker for your company. Maybe you're self-employed and it doesn't make sense to have an outside office. You don't need one.
Right.
Or even if you're just waiting for the cable person to come
Yeah.
install. Like, we all have to work from home sometimes.
Yeah, and there has been this trend too for a lot of people anyway who want to work remotely or want to work from home on top of that.
Yeah, which I don't understand because I am not a work from home person. One of the reasons I started Pregame is like, I need a space where I'm connecting with people for real. And, my previous business, I had a co-working office. So I like to be around people. But sometimes, being by yourself, of course, is conducive to getting stuff done.
Well, when you think about this then for people who are in that situation, what are some different tips for them on how to make sure that you're staying productive? Because it seems like it would be easy to just sit on the couch and
Yeah.
really get lazy, but you can't do that. So what do they need to do?
Yeah, first tip is go to work. Don't just roll out of bed and get on your sofa. I want you to get up, make your coffee, have your breakfast, get dressed, if you have to walk outside and walk around the block and come back, that's fine, but you need to switch into work mode. Give your subconscious some cues that you are not in relax mode, you are in work mode right now. So change your clothes, put some shoes on, have a designated area that is your office. Don't be on your couch with, streaming out here,
Right, which would be really easy to do. So don't sit in your pajamas. That is not working.
Exactly.
It's the wrong mind frame.
Next, I want you to have a schedule, right?
Okay.
So take breaks, because the thing I don't like about working from home is I get really distracted with home projects. I'm like, oh, this would be a great time to reorganize my closet, or this would be a great time to cook, and so it's really important for me to be more disciplined than when I'm at the office.
Okay.
With next 90 minutes, I'm just in work zone, I'm not getting up, but then take a real break. Take a 20-minute break, go make coffee, go do whatever you want to do, but have some accountability to that clock.
So put some structure to it so that
Yeah.
you're not just working forever or slacking off forever.
Yes.
One of the two. Okay, so those are great ideas, great things to do. Take some breaks. What are some other tips for everybody?
The other tip is that I want you to still have social time. So if it is a situation where everybody's healthy enough to get together, make sure that you schedule some social time into your day. So maybe on one of your breaks, you go FaceTime a friend and it's a social conversation, or after work, you meet up with people. I saw the best post from somebody in Italy who was quarantining, and she said that she and her friends have a virtual happy hour at 5 o'clock every day. So we all do need connection with other humans and social time that's not just work.
Yeah.
So try to find ways to build that in, because you know how it is. If you're working from home and you're isolated all day, and then your partner gets home or you go meet with friends, you're like, blah, 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 because you haven't been talking to people.
Yeah.
Have a balance.
Figure that out. Yeah, I love that idea of a virtual happy hour.
Yeah.
The coworkers or anybody. I've done that actually with some friends who are across the country. I'm just like, hey, let's log on and have a beer, and do something like that. So I think that's great. So walking through some different things you can do to keep your sanity, but also be productive.
Yes.
While you're working from home. Anything else that you think people should know?
I have a bonus pro tip.
Ooh.
Yes. Pay attention to your background. If you're doing video meetings, make sure that it looks the way you want it to look for your business brand or your personal brand. So your last guest did a great job. He had a bookshelf with his book everywhere. But you guys, don't put your screen down here so we're getting your chin and probably 10 new chins that you grew from having your screen right here. Prop your computer up. For the love of God, if I have to look at you for an hour on video, bring your screen up.
Yeah.
Look okay from the neck up. I don't know.
Right, yeah, wear shorts if you need to, but no, I totally agree. That angle, that is not a good angle.
Not flattering.
Nobody wants to see your nostrils, or nobody looks good from that angle. So that is a great suggestion.
Give us a good environment in the background. People are judging you when you're working from home on video.
Change
Just,
it up.
Help them out.
Put your Emmy in the background if that's what you have. And show that off.
Yeah.
Well, Sarah, thank you so much, as always. These are great tips. But we need to get everybody another tip. Where can they go and follow you?
We are putting out more pro tips. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at @TheMayoress, or you can follow Pregame at PregameMag, and see our latest blog posts and pro tips at pregamehq.com.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, as always. Another edition of Work Life. You can check out all of these at digitaltrends.com. We've got a whole bunch of great examples and tips for you to help find that balance. We've got more coming up here on the show, so I want to say thank you to everybody who's been joining us here so far. Again, we're broadcasting live, and there's so much to talk about. Coming up next, we've got Andre Noodleman, who's the CEO of Digital Media Academy, which is a really great organization that's been delivering and developing STEM education for all kinds of students. So we're going to talk about that and so much more. So stick around. We'll be right back with more Digital Trends Live. Welcome back to Digital Trends Live. I'm Greg Nibbler. Thank you very much for joining us. Wherever you are, hit that subscribe button, then you get the notifications when we do go live, which is every single weekday. And like I said, it's Digital Trends. We'd like to keep you up to date on what's trending. And certainly online education is getting a big boost right now, but it's been something that's important for a long time. And we're going to talk about that because we have Andre Noodleman, who's the CEO of Digital Media Academy, is joining us. Andre, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Let's talk about first Digital Media Academy and tell us about the organization, what brought it about, and what some of the inspirations were.
Oh, Digital Media Academy was founded in 2002 at Stanford University with the objective to provide tech education for a very large audience, including teachers and students. Then it became a independent company and it's been running the tech camps since then in Stanford, Harvard, New York University, University of Chicago, University of Pennsylvania, lots, and the most prestigious universities in North America. So our program is upscale and is the best possible STEM program that you can find. So we have the best locations, the best instructors, and the best programs. We acquired the company 2 years ago, and then we started developing the company licensing programs or where other people can operate our camps in prestigious universities globally. And also we start developing the Digital Media Academy certified schools that we provide schools with program and teacher qualification. It's all online.
Well, and that's certainly a trend that's very important right now. It's talking about online learning because of a lot of people who are maybe watching this right now are working from home or their kids are at home. A lot of kids are being sent home from school because of various issues going on, with the coronavirus. Why is this kind of education so important? And what are some different, maybe some trends and tips that you can share with us about what you've learned through the Digital Media Academy?
Yeah, all the schools and parents, and they know they need to embed technology in their programs. But very few people know how to do that. And the main challenges the schools have is that the teachers are not prepared. They don't have any background in technology. So what we did, we developed programs from K to 12 where these courses can be taught by teachers that had no previous exposure to technology. So we have lots of teacher resources, videos. Every course we have 3 videos, and yeah, it's a very powerful resource for the schools.
So something that everybody's able to log on to, and like you said, if they don't have an expertise in something, that doesn't matter. You kind of help them overcome that. Looking at the trend going forward, you've had 200,000 students, I believe it is, so far. I mean, that's just incredible, students that you're teaching. Where do you see this going forward in association with the kinds of technology that you can provide from the education standpoint? Obviously, there's videos, there's some interactivity. Are there some tech trends that you think are going to influence how people are educated on location or at home?
Yeah, this outbreak brought some kind of unexpected urgency.
Yes.
So then, and it coincided with our, let's say, initiative to develop the certified school program that we started when we acquired the company 2 years ago. So we are using the excellence in STEM teaching to develop these programs to be offered in the schools by the teachers. And then because of the urgency, the schools now are using to teach also the students remotely. So we managed to make it possible for the schools. So now it was a very interesting speeding up of the process. And we are offering that right now at no cost for the schools. So the schools can use with any cost The same way we offered 1,000 full scholarships in our programs in the last 2 years.
That's great. I mean, and that speeding up of the process, is such an important thing right now when you have something as expedient as this issue that's happening with all these people who are at home and trying to figure this out, and being able to be on top of that is great. When you look at online education, with the students with STEM education that you're doing right now, do you see an expansion in the future of who some of your potential students would be?
Yeah, in fact, we have, beside the tech camps and beside the certified schools, we also work with companies for certification. We have a broad spectrum of clients and possible clients. So we are offering the market the best STEM courses and is the easiest possible way for each different audience.
Where can people follow along with the Digital Media Academy and become involved if they're an organization that wants to learn more or bring on your learning programs?
Yeah, they can go to our website. There is a registration form. It's schools.digitalmediaacademy.org. And they can fill the form and receive what we call initial certification, and they will have access to the courses.
Excellent. Well, Andre, thank you so much for joining us here to talk about this. It's fascinating to see what's going on, and certainly I would imagine you're pretty busy being at the forefront of things changing so quickly, but it was really nice to talk to you and learn more about this. Thanks for being here on Digital Trends Live.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
All right, so that's Andre Noodleman, again, the Digital Media Academy, and talking about that, there's a lot of that's going to be happening right now for a lot of you at home, trying to figure out how to handle things. Online education, it's certainly going to be getting a boost during this thing that's happening for all of us right now. All right, we've got more to talk about, because coming up next, we've got Ken Young. He is the technology editor for Flipboard, and he's going to be joining us to talk about some of the biggest trends in tech over this last week. I think we know what we're going to be discussing, but we're going to talk about the ramifications of that a little bit more, and a couple other things as well that maybe you missed in this news cycle. So that's coming up next, and we've got some more to talk about with Between the Streams, where Rick Marshall is going to join us, talk about what you should be watching while you're at home, or it might be a good time to start binging some shows. So we'll discuss that and more. Stick around, back here in a minute with more Digital Trends Live. Welcome back to Digital Trends Live. Again, thank you for everybody joining us. Hit that subscribe button. We like to keep you up to date on technology, and it is Friday, which means it's time for another edition of Tech Briefs, where I am joined by Mr. Ken Young, the technology editor for Flipboard. And for those of you who are listening to the podcast, thank you. If you're not, hit subscribe to that. But if you're watching the video, you may notice a different background because Ken is not at the Flipboard offices. Ken, where are you right now?
I'm actually in an undisclosed location, Greg. This is my secure concrete bunker. I'm 600 feet below the Digital Trends office right now. I mean, sorry, I didn't mean to
Yeah,
See.
you shouldn't give that away. That does look very, very discreet wherever you are there. Or it could be your apartment. I don't know. That also looks like, is that a fax machine behind you? I'm not entirely sure what you have back there.
This, my friend, is actually the new Ken Plus set-top box.
Of course.
That'll be available for $1,200.
And well, in this time where everybody's working from home, they do need to start thinking about getting that Chem Plus subscription. All right, let's talk about this. So for Tech Briefs this week, obviously, coronavirus. Say that 3 times fast. I mean, that has affected so much. We've been talking about it for weeks. Looking at it from the tech side, there are so many different companies that are having their employees work from home. Google told all their North America's employees to go work from home. Twitter said worldwide. Amazon is advising workers to work from home. And Ken, obviously, you are working from home right now because it's such a huge thing. Here at the Digital Trends offices, most people are working from home as well. This has had a huge effect on so many people.
Oh, sure. And look, I know we keep talking about this every week on Tech Briefs, and everything is accelerating and escalating on a daily basis. It's no longer, let's see what happens next week. It's actually within what happens in the next 24 hours or the next couple of hours as it is. So right now, Flipboard, we are working from home. We have a working from home strategy in place. And what a lot of these tech companies are doing, they're trying to participate in this concept called flattening the curve to kind of get people away from each other, kind of like that social distancing, to really minimize the chance of accelerated infections of the coronavirus, of COVID-19. So as you said, look, Google is basically has a mandatory work from home policy for everyone in North America, I believe, and Twitter has done it worldwide. Amazon as well. Apple has also been participating as well. There's a lot of these tech companies that are doing this, and some of these tech companies are even taking one step further and giving benefits to their hourly and contract workers as well. Some unfortunately may not get the benefit quite yet, but there are discussions taking place with these companies to make sure that they're being done right by these they're treated well. So I wouldn't expect that you're going to see a lot of these companies kind of really saying, you know what, we're open for business, everyone come into the office.
Right.
You're going to start to see a lot more of these people saying, look, especially in hard hit areas such as Seattle and New York and in San Francisco and in Los Angeles, it's like, look, go ahead and work from home. And there's a lot of technology to help facilitate that. Not everyone can take advantage of that, especially with internet access. And you're starting to see companies such as just today, Comcast, AT&T, Verizon. They said they would agree to the mandate from the FCC to, I believe, to eliminate fees and help support additional broadband usage.
Yeah, they're lifting some of the data caps and boosting the speeds to help facilitate that.
And there's people are making kind of trying to find some humor in the work from home aspect as much as is possible.
Right.
Earlier this week, there's a couple of journalists and tech folks in Silicon Valley. They created a work from home happy hour on Zoom. Zoom has kind of has been great to kind of really update their cap on number of participants in Zoom calls.
And I think that's going to be an interesting thing, too. You see Zoom and Slack and different ways of communicating, really getting a boost on that. And that online happy hour idea is pretty great. We were talking about that earlier today because it's important to keep that interaction going. But looking at it from that, talking about everybody working from home, that's with all the tech companies. There's also the other issue of all these cancellations and all of the conventions. I mean, and every day there's more. Microsoft's Build Conference was just canceled. You had E3 earlier this week, which actually has a lot of ramifications. Just talking about that one specifically, because there's so many we could cover. E3 is a big one when it comes to the world of gaming, just because you have so many announcements that are going to be made there. Sony wasn't going to be there this year. Microsoft was, though. Xbox was going to have a huge presence. And this is where, on the year of gaming, where we have 2 brand new consoles that are going to be coming out. You have this new streaming cloud gaming phenomenon that's happening. This was a big time for all these game manufacturers and game developers to showcase their new stuff and talk to other people and build partnerships. And when something like this gets canceled, it's a pretty big deal. So looking at the ramifications are pretty wide. We'll still see some things still being announced, and that's what I wanted to hint at, is that Xbox is going to be doing their own thing. They're still going to be making their announcements. They're going to call it GameStack Live, where they'll be live streaming all of their announcements. And I think these virtual conferences are going to be something we're going to see a lot more of going forward.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. You're already seeing that now, and a lot of these conferences that ultimately got canceled. You know, there's some have thought kind of like how to transform it, how to kind of make find some silver lining in this, and therefore you're starting to see a lot of these online transitions into transformations into online events. So you see with of course, speaking with gaming, with E3 and GDC getting canceled. So the two big
Right.
gaming events have gotten canceled. So what outlet do these game publishers and companies have to really showcase, like, hey, this is what we're announcing, and we need that, this is to get to kind of give people a sneak peek so that we can build up attention ahead of the holiday season, assuming there's still going to be one. But I think, so now they're like, look, this is the internet. We can showcase this. And so you're starting to see a lot of these movements, and a lot of the companies that you mentioned are starting to move more, are saying that they're going to do more online type of events. So obviously Microsoft Build has gotten canceled, but they're going to be converting theirs into an online only a virtual event. Same Apple's WWDC, which is supposed to be in June, but hasn't officially been announced, said that, look, we're going to postpone it, we're going to cancel it, but it's going to be a virtual event as well. So a lot in Google I/O as well is going to do that also. So I wouldn't put it past Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo and all these other companies and Ubisoft to kind of say, look, we're going to do this online as well.
Yeah.
Sure, you don't have the fan interaction and kind of like the whole audience and engagement, but I mean, this is still something better than nothing.
Right, and that's kind of how it's got to go. I was just taking a look at that. Yeah, you're right. WWDC, announcing their new online format, that just happened. And as we were talking about at the beginning of the show, things are happening so fast. It's hard to keep up with everything, and that's what we're trying to do here with this segment, is make sure that you're on top of it and that and certainly Flipboard, Digital Trends, two great places to follow. With these virtual conferences, let's go to something else here. Let's talk about some different news this week, and that is Amazon, with the announcement that they're going to be selling their Amazon Go technology to other businesses. And this is kind of that trend to go to a cashierless system. If you haven't been to an Amazon Go store, they've got a number of them popping up in airports, and certainly Seattle, San Francisco, I believe they're definitely in both of those places. But what it is, if you haven't seen it, you walk in. If you have your Prime membership, you essentially scan that when you walk in. And then there are no cashiers. There's no real attendants. You walk around, there's just shelves full of items, and you grab those shelves, grab something off of it, it automatically scans it, and then you just walk out of the store like you stole it, but you didn't. You're getting charged. And that's something that, seeing this kind of technology being utilized other places, Amazon did say they're working on a much bigger, like, grocery store style version, but selling it to other companies, I gotta wonder, do you think other companies are going to take them up on this technology?
I think so, and let's be honest. That Amazon's just walk out kind of technology, as it's kind of been dubbed, it's not new. It's not the only player out there. I mean, they were the one that kind of really pioneered this, but there are other smaller competitors that kind of really said, look, we are offering something similar to merchants and retailers. So I think this is certainly going to pick up. I think the fact that Amazon is licensing its Go technology out to folks to other retailers is actually is a good thing, and you're starting to see future retail here. I think people are just want to be like, look, I don't want to wait in line in this long line on Black Friday or in this busy store that it's like, why do I have to go to store X and there's always a long queue for me to pay for something when I literally can just, like, I just want these two items. Here's my money. Let me just go, instead of queuing in front of people who have 50 questions about blah, 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 right? So, I mean, this is actually going to be very useful, especially for stores that have, like, want the quick transactions, and especially I think earlier today, when Amazon announced the news, one of the airport retailers, OTG, said that they're going to be one of the first to license this technology. So, I mean, if you figure you go into an airport, you're like, I'm running late for my plane. I need to make it to the gate in the next 5 minutes. I don't want to wait in line and find, like, where's this cashier? It's like, I just want to pick up a bottle of water and walk out. I want to pick up this this magazine and just walk out, easy peasy.
Yeah, that's definitely a place where I could see it doing really well, because I'm the same way, and sometimes it's even hard to find who the cashier is if they're not paying attention and spending all that time. That's an area where, I can see a lot of companies utilizing this. We'll have to see what other ones do. I would imagine if successful, you'll see some other ones maybe even yeah, these mini marts or convenience stores, other like Circle K or Plaid Pantry or something like that, taking advantage. Moving from there, let's talk about one other thing here. I know we need to get to a break here pretty quick, but speaking of products, that do need to be announced, there was one that was leaked earlier this week, and we think this is what's going to be coming out, and that's the Google Pixel 4a, following on the heels of the 3a from last year, that mid-tier phone, kind of a scaled-back version of the Pixel, but still a nice phone. I know a lot of people were really happy with the 3a. The 4a now coming out, it looks like it's going to have a $399 price tag, and it sounds like, if this leak is correct, and it does seem pretty fair. There was a Spanish website that put out a full video of it. This looks like a pretty good new phone to add on to that Pixel line.
Where is the tweet? Like, where is Google's tweet? Like, when the Pixel 4 was announced or was leaked, like Google's like, look, here you go.
Here
like,
it is, yeah.
But we haven't seen a tweet from Google yet. I mean, look, I think with the Pixel 4a, you're going to get all the same bells and whistles that you get with the Pixel 4, and very similar to kind of what you get with the 3a with the 3. It's a budget. It's more of a budget friendly phone.
Yeah.
At $99, you get everything. I mean, sure, you're going to lose some of the capabilities. I think with the 3a versus the 3, you didn't have like Daydream support, but of course Daydream is no longer really around. It wasn't totally like water resistant. It's made up. All those type of things you may have to sacrifice. The battery may not be as spectacular. The processor may not be that great. But ultimately, the camera is going to be good. You get the stock Android. You get the quality camera software. I'm very intrigued to see how Google is going to say, look, this is with the Pixel 4a, here's what we're going to do with it, with the software, the camera software, and to rival what Samsung has with the Galaxy S20. If you remember at Samsung Unpacked, Samsung touted their software capability when they're talking about their 100 megapixel camera. So to really bring in sharper photos. So what is Google's response to that? And like the $399 price range for a Pixel 4a, people that were like, I really want the Pixel 4, but I don't want to, break the bank.
Yeah.
Even though the Pixel 4 itself is still going to be cheaper than any of the major flagships from Samsung or Apple, it's like, this is actually going to be a lot cheaper for me.
Right. Yeah, I think it's a good move, and hopefully, we'll see some more things like that. We'll have to see what the other companies do following suit, and how their announcements are made. And obviously, Google hasn't officially announced this, but it sounds like this is what's going to happen. Well, Ken, as always, it was great to talk to you for Tech Briefs. I do want to say I appreciate the fact that even though you're working from home, you still put a suit on. You're dressed for success right there. I'm just imagining this is how you are all the time, even on your off hours, wearing that suit.
I really don't have anything else except for suits. Like
it just makes sense.
There's something else?
It just makes sense. I imagine it's like a Jetson situation where you wake up out of bed and it's just boom, the suit's on. All right, Ken, thank you so much. Again, hit subscribe wherever you get the podcast, and we'll be back next week with more Tech Briefs. Talk to you then, Ken.
See you, Greg.
All right, and again, like I said, follow on the podcast, hit subscribe to that, follow the video version. If you're watching that, thank you, and we'll keep you up to date on everything going on with that. So we need to get to a break because we have Rick Marshall who's going to join us for Between the Streams. We're going to talk about some trending news in movies and entertainment. Guess what? It's been hit by coronavirus too. So we'll talk about that to a little bit, but also we'll talk about some different shows that you could be binging. You may be spending some more time at home. We'll help you figure out what to watch. That's coming up next. Stick around. Back in a minute with more Digital Trends Live. Hello, this is Digital Trends Live. I'm Greg Nibbler. Thanks for joining us. Wherever you are, hit that subscribe button. I want to say it again. Hit the subscribe button. We'll be with you throughout everything that's going on. We'll be broadcasting live every weekday, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. But right now, it's time to catch you up to date on what is happening in the world of streaming for another edition of Between the Streams. I am joined now by Rick Marshall. Hello, Rick. Thank you for being here to keep us up to date on this. And I want to start off with saying coronavirus. Have you seen this? Have you heard about this? Seems to be affecting some things.
Yeah, something about beer. I heard of the beer thing.
Yep, that's what I heard too. So we solved that. But it is having a delay now on a lot of things. And I want to talk about the movies that are getting delayed, the series getting delayed, but also even production now stopping on a number of things with Apple TV Plus, I believe, stopping production on pretty much everything now.
Yeah, pretty much Apple TV has stopped. Disney's been pushing things back. Pretty much every movie that was in development or production in Europe has been put on sort of an indefinite hiatus. The Marvel movie, the Marvel TV series, Falcon and Winter Soldier, that one had production is on hold right now too. So they say it's not going to affect when it was supposed to premiere, but still, it's a huge ripple effect I think we're likely to see as they try to crowd in TV shows and movies into a very slim number of available time slots.
Yeah, that's true. We're going to have, at some point, when they do release, everybody's going to try to push them out at once, I guess, might be what we're doing. And then talking about some of the movies delayed, James Bond, we already knew about. That's pushed back several months. A Quiet Place 2, and there's more even that I think were announced just today.
Yeah, well, they also, just after A Quiet Place, they announced that Fast and Furious 9, and that's the biggest one so far. That got pushed back almost an entire year from April to I believe it was either from May to April or April to May, but like from 2020 to 2021, that was pushed back. So that's a huge one, and James Bond was pushed back 7 months. And some of them don't even have new premiere dates. A Quiet Place Part 2 or Milan. Both of those don't have premiere dates scheduled anymore.
Now, you put up an interesting concept there of Mulan, of how Disney could handle that.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting because I don't think this would ever actually happen because they've invested so much into the movie. But, there is an option for companies like Disney that have very popular, growing streaming services to maybe release the movies there. Maybe they just get, a little head start. They release them there before they go into theaters. I suspect it would, impact their sort of theater gross, but by quite a bit. But still, it would massively expand the subscriber base for some of these streaming services if they chose to go that route. So, it remains to be seen. They have some options.
Yeah, to see, or maybe even like a one-time, like it's a rental or something on Disney Plus or something along those lines.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's a whole new world now with every studio and TV network having its own dedicated streaming service for its products.
Right. Well, talking about streaming services too, I know there's Quibi that's supposed to be launching, I think, early April, and that's the one that's going to be a phone-only streaming service. And it's kind of interesting because it has a lot of backing behind it, and it seems like an interesting format, but it's already having trouble before it's even launched. Like somebody's going after them for the tech. Is that what's happening?
Yeah, there's a bunch of lawsuits right now related to the tech they're using for it because it has some interesting sort of elements where you can change your phone's position to, get a different perspective on what's being shown on the screen. You can turn it vertical to see, more of the things in the screen that way, or horizontal to see more of the screen, more of a widescreen effect. But that's apparently a element of the technology that other companies have said they came up with first. So they're mired in a lot of issues. And then there's just the entire premise of, are people going to buy into a subscription-based service that has 10-minute long or less videos on it?
Right.
They're produced by amazing people. Like, Spielberg's involved in some of the stuff. They have an amazing cast involved, but they're 10-minute videos.
Yeah, and I think it's all that's just because of the influence of cats. It's just who we can bring in there, but yeah, it's really pretty fascinating what's going to be going on there. I may have had that name wrong now that I said that out loud, but nonetheless, looking at who's involved, it's pretty huge. So we'll have to see how that lawsuit affects it. Going from there, and we're going to talk about bingeable shows here in just a minute too for people. Give some recommendations, but there is something premiering this weekend, actually, March 15th, that people need to know about. Now, have you seen this yet?
I've seen a couple of episodes, but I have binged through the first 2 seasons over again just to sort of refresh my own memory of Westworld.
So Westworld season 3 starting up. What do you think so far?
It's amazing.
Really?
It's one of my, it's Westworld is one of those shows that I absolutely love for the, season that it's on. And then I'm thinking about it constantly. I'm looking forward to the next episode. I'm thinking a lot about it after the season ends. But then there's these massive gaps in between each season. It's been more than a year, almost 2 years since season 2 ended. So I kind of went through and binged through the first 2 seasons all over again to, write a recap to catch people up, because I'm sure I'm not alone in having loved the show but forgotten where everything, stands as of season 3, because it is a very complicated, very layered show.
It really is. There's a lot to figure out. And you're right. Season 2, I don't even remember many of the key points of season 2, so I'm going to have to read that recap at digitaltrends.com in order to understand what's happening in season 3. But definitely with the cast, I mean, Aaron Paul being in there, that's pretty big. If you're a fan of Aaron Paul, I mean, that's huge.
Even Marshawn Lynch,
yeah,
apparently
that's what I saw.
Marshawn
Marshawn Lynch is
in the third season. So I'm really looking forward to finding out what role that is, because I think he's kind of hilarious in whatever he does. So yeah, there's a lot of really interesting premises there. And where the first season, was centered on Westworld, and the second season explored some of the other parks as well as what was going on with the company Delos. Third season is I actually spoke to the cinematographer for the third season, and who's been a cinematographer through all of Westworld, and I'll have an interview up on Digital Trends soon. But we talked about the fact that the third season is very much outside of the parks. While there are still some elements that happen inside, there's very much this exploration of what the world is like outside of the parks, and it is a sort of futuristic world, but not too Blade Runner-esque, but very just extrapolating on what a world might be that would come up with something like Westworld.
Wow, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait for that, and I'll definitely watch some of the other ones, but watch some of the previous episodes just to get caught up. But read that review at digitaltrends.com and catch up on everything. All right, I know we want to get to this too. So talking about, with this, I know a lot of people are at home. A lot of people are going to be working from home. And probably a lot of people are going to be watching a lot more online right now. And we wanted to talk about bingeable shows that you can watch while maybe getting some work done at the same time. And the 2 that I wanted to put up, just I'll list 2 of them, and I want to hear yours. One of them is Parks and Recreation, and that is something that I can watch over and over, where I can have it on in the background. It's one of my go-to background shows. I have it there. I can look up every now and then, maybe catch something I didn't hear before, and then just let it keep on going for like 2 episodes and not even pay attention until I get the warning of, are you still watching? And that's a great background show, I feel like. You can still get work done, still watch it. That and The Office, of course, which is kind of along the same lines. I bounce back and forth between those 2 quite a bit, but those are definitely 2 bingeable ones that I would say. You've got some interesting ones here for yours, though.
Well, first, let me say Office and Parks and Rec are fantastic choices. Those are amazing choices for it, because the dialogue is so witty and clever and moves along at such a good pace. You could be working and just listening to it and still be cracking up laughing, like as you're writing, and as you're doing whatever it is that you're doing. Those are great suggestions. Those have been on in the background for me too. For me, it's been Supernatural. It's a big one for me. I love that sort of sci-fi, supernaturally type, escapist fantasy series. And for the most part, once you start watching that show, it follows, almost all the episodes follow a certain formula where there's a lot of exposition and certain things happen, and then you kind of know the cues when to actually pay attention to what's going on. The rest of the time you can kind of just listen to what they're talking about, and some of it vanishes into the background. You're like, okay, yes, I know they're having some melodrama at this moment, but I can pay attention when the action starts happening. And Supernatural is that way for me, because also there's 15 episodes or 15 seasons on Netflix right now. So that's hours of background entertainment there.
Yeah. So Supernatural, I have actually never watched Supernatural. So this is one that I'll give it a shot and start watching that.
It's a CW show, it's
so you know what you're getting
that comes with that. Yeah, you know what you're getting with it. It's Monster of the Week, and kind of not too gory, but still, it's good background.
Yeah.
And for me, the other one actually is Star Wars: The Clone Wars.
Yeah, which Star Wars: The Clone Wars I just started watching too. That does seem like a pretty good background one.
Yeah, and there's so many episodes of it, so many seasons. They're short episodes, and for the most part, it's a really good sort of background on what's going on in the Star Wars world that you might not have been aware of if you just watched the movies. It really fills out. There was this massive time period that elapsed between Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, and Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. They basically kind of gloss over everything that happened in this massive war that begins in Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, and then they just kind of pick up near the end of it in Episode 3, where there was all these things happening in the Star Wars universe that really hardcore Star Wars fans know about. But, if you're like me and kind of, catch up on stuff here and there, this is a great thing to put on the background and get caught up with all these major players who actually do factor into, especially the sequel trilogy. They're mentioned in it. The people in it have big roles.
Yeah, I love it. I definitely want to catch up on that one. So those are some, again, just to binge watch. For me, I always go back to Sopranos because that's my favorite show of all time. So I can have that on in the background at all times. I can look up, see Tony getting mad at somebody or, some big moment in it. Otherwise, it just goes on in the background. Everybody with all the accents and everything that happens with it, I can watch that for hours. Like I can just have that playing in the background and it's perfectly fine with me. But if nobody's ever seen it, it's a good time to watch that one. It's a great bingeable show too. And I know we're out of time, but I want to reiterate to everybody too for this Westworld season 3 premiere. We've got the preview up and you've got kind of the catch up so people can catch up on what's going on because that's going to be a really great one for this weekend.
Yep, and next week sometime you'll likely have be able to read an interview with cinematographer on the series, which is really fascinating given, what sort of series it is. Big live Western epic versus sci-fi stuff going on and kind of having to put all of that together from a cinematographer's point of view is really interesting.
I can't wait to read that. Rick, thank you as always for being here to keep us up to date, and we'll talk to you maybe next week.
That sounds great.
All right. Rick Marshall right there. So again, check out all of that at digitaltrends.com to catch up on what is happening. So let me tell you a little bit about what's happening. So this is Digital Trends Live. We're live here every weekday, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. And I want to reiterate that because we are going to be live next week. Now, like a lot of companies with the offices with things that are going on, we'll be out in the field. But we will be broadcasting live. And I want to thank everybody for joining us for that. And hit subscribe. We'll talk to you next week. We don't know where we're going to be, but you're going to be getting your show every single day. So again, thanks. I'm Greg Nibbler, and I'll see you right back here on